Good morning. My name is Kurt Ranta, Operations Section Chief for Team 12, managing the Bedrock Complex. I'll give you an overview of the Bedrock Fire and the Salmon Fire as well, which is the other fire in the complex. So we'll start with the Bedrock Fire, go around the clockwise around the horn here, start with Division Alpha. That's where they've been preparing the 1817 road and some dozer line to fire off of for the next few days. We did get going on that operation yesterday afternoon. The fire perimeter here is not quite updated. We get that IR infrared data a little later than we can populate this map with. But we did start up high around this drop point 18 area. We had two hotshot crews that started burning late afternoon yesterday, and by this morning, with the help of the night shift, they were able to get fire burned out from that top of this fire up here all the way down to drop point 16 at a checkpoint. And they also got the fire to the east below the Little Cow Horn lookout to drop point 20. So that tied in the fire. This firing operation all the way up north into the private land there was completed the night before. So that ties off a good chunk of line here with firing operations as of this morning. So moving around to Division Juliet up high. Last night they did some additional firing operations there up top all the way around the horn and back down into the property boundary there around that drop point 23, and almost tied the loop there before they ran out of good burning conditions in some open fuels. At night, the moisture of extinction, meaning like when things stop burning in those light fuels, they reached a point where the humidity was too high. So we'll close that off today when we get the conditions. The rest of Juliet looking really good, as it has been for many days. The crews over in Juliet yesterday, Juliet and Lima area, they found a way to start working on this ridge in between our option there. So they're going to work on going down Symbol Ridge and try to tie that line in the next 2 days down to this, what we're calling the No Name Creek here, where the main fire is backing or flanking along. They'll work on that for the day, which the intent of starting to do burnout operations in that in the next 2 or 3 days. They're also continuing to look at some contingency operations out here. They have one contingency line here if this line doesn't work, and they're looking at others out to the east. Moving around to the next division, which is Division Lima. They've been working on the 1832 road system here and continuing to do a little bit of tactical firing just to keep up with the fire. As I said yesterday, you might recall, the fire's down in really steep timbered ground and just flanking along. They're keeping ahead of it a little bit so it doesn't make a big run up at the road. Coming around into this area, a lot of the rest of the fire is looking really good and secure. All of this area is secure. Monitoring this area where it burned up against the old fire scar from the Middle Fork fire. Moving around in Division Oscar down in this country. They did a lot of good work the last week and tied in a bunch of indirect line in here. They can't access a lot of the fire edge because it's in rocks and really hard ground. So they stitched together a bunch of roads, hand line, dozer line. They finally tied in yesterday, and they'll be monitoring that area. That area has not moved probably in a week and a half or 2 weeks. Moving over west into the Oscar country here, that area is still being patrolled and mopped up. And finally, down here in Yankee and what we're calling the boot, looking really good. They're still driving these roads and monitoring this area where they can get in, still doing some mop up and clean up over here in the west side of the boot. That's looking really good, should be secure in the next couple days. And then this Hayden structure area got done with preparation in there, and they're working in conjunction with Alpha to make sure that when we get the burnout operation down here that they can close this loop and protect the structures along the 18 corridor. So that plan's going really well. We have another group of folks that are looking at contingency options out here, ways out, and also they're available for initial attack in case we get an initial attack within the perimeter, so that's the responsibility of the teams. Moving over to the Salmon Fire. Salmon Fire is looking really good. So last night, they completed a burnout indirect because they couldn't get direct on the fire all the way down to near the Salmon River Road. That went very well. They did that all yesterday, and at this point, the entire fire, both Division Bravo and Division Zulu, are in mop-up secure mode with a hose in there, and they're utilizing water to make sure they get in enough to secure that fire. The only other operations to note on that is there is a shaded fuel break that's being implemented here along the Salmon River Road. That's a couple days out to completion just as a backup plan. That's all I've got for today. Thank you.